An area that I think everyone can have trouble with at some point in time in their life is self-worth. Whether that worth is questioned at a young age, when you're in your middle ages, or down the road after you've lived a fair portion of your life, I don't think there's a single person that hasn't had to question their validity to be someone, and their validity in being someone who is worthwhile, someone who has made a great impact on the world. It's a very complicated subject, but nonetheless, I think it's a routine everyone goes through. Whether it be at a young age, and I think what I'm going to try to do now is try to pinpoint how it starts. And partially it's coming off of how it's happened to me, because I feel like I've been in this position, and what I want to do with this is find where it starts, see reasonings as to why it happens, and try to spin them into what you can do differently going forward. Sometime along the way, we are questioned and we are told that we aren't necessarily, maybe in a specific task, maybe as a whole, worthy or good enough at something. Could be at a young age where our parents maybe use the wrong tone. And I think this, at some point, I'm not going to give as much slack as it could be. I understand people have terrible parents and people have terrible upbringings. To keep in mind at least something when you look at this lens. Everyone has their own troubles, and people who end up having to raise other people sometimes find it difficult, rather, to mask them and fix them. So this is where it can happen. And for a final note on parents, you will quickly learn over time how you want to parent from your parents and how you will not want to parent from your parents and any other adults that you face in the course of your life. The other way this happens comes, in my opinion, from outside sources. And outside sources, it could be from kids your age, again, if it's an upbringing. It could be from a formerly trusted adult. I'm not saying a parent, but it could be maybe a teacher. It could be a mentor or someone you thought was a mentor and decides to pull the rug out from underneath you. Or someone of some shape or form. And I think that this dilemma of self-worth is a hard one to crack. I'm just putting it out there. It is a hard one to crack. It's one that you can't fix overnight. It's something where, depending on how strong your mind is or how in the gutter your mind can be, I don't want to go down the mindset rabbit hole, but once this is said to you, because someone will, most likely, if they haven't already, say it to you, or you will think it, it can be an easy process or a hard and a very arduous process to deal with. This self-worth can put you down a bunch of terrible cycles, and that question of self-worth or not, because it could be along the lines of you don't have the confidence in yourself to fight back, to show why, yes, you are worthy. You might not have the evidence and confidence, I feel like, that actually comes from evidence. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But it's a very tough thing because, again, at some point in time, everyone deals with this. There are resources who can help you with it. One resource, and if you are having this problem, therapy is always a way to get over this. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. You don't need to hire a therapist for it. You can actually search it up and find exercises for free on the internet. I myself, as long as I've been doing this, I am not a certified or registered therapist. I did therapy once. It was about 2 weeks and I didn't put enough real effort into it, and I stopped because it cost a lot of money. But therapy is an avenue. The other way and the other avenue I feel like that we can go is finding a mentor or resource that isn't pushing that narrative down our throats. Those cycles, they can be tough. They can be tough for us to deal with because depending on how strong our minds are, we can view any result when you get it back or that you find that self-worth can play into the picture. Maybe you don't get a job. Maybe you try out for a team and you don't get there. Maybe you want to be a part of a group and you do your best and you put all of your effort into getting into said group and there is nothing there for you. In some ways, if you want to boil it down to simplicity, you're told no. The thing is, these no's, they can be blatantly obvious. You can understand why. They could also make you question and interrogate yourself and follow that rabbit hole as to why you weren't chosen or selected, even though you can at times ask someone and say, hey, what happened? Sometimes they can be honest. Sometimes, and I think with jobs, the basis is, hey, someone fit our needs more. And you can be told, as I've been told multiple times, you're really good, keep plugging away. The thing with the self-worth, it's good to hear that in the minds of some, and I've dealt with this. It's not necessarily helpful either. You could look for strong feedback, and I think critical feedback is the way to finding and fine-tuning yourself to get to where you want to be in life. That's a cycle. Another cycle, I feel, and again, this is something I've dealt with, isn't just in maybe searching for a job or whatnot. If you don't have self-worth, relationships can be extremely tough for you. Because it can be hard to justify in your mind, depending on how you look at and view yourself, why someone would choose you. That feeling could stem from maybe being picked last for any time you played a sport on the playground, or some other more explicit example. But it can be an extremely tough cycle to stomach and an extremely tough cycle to progress past. Yes, you can progress past it, but it's not easy. Relationships, especially if you can't find yourself worthy of being loved, of being chosen, it's hard to find yourself in a relationship to begin with. And the thing is, if you don't find yourself worthy and you put yourself out there and you put that out into the universe, you put that out into the world, whether it be through jokes, whether it be through some slight truths, it stalls you. It stalls you. It comes back to haunt you. I remember this happened to me my freshman year of college. My first semester was overhauled, and my entire freshman year of college was changed due to COVID. I was remote exclusively my first semester. That spring I went up to school, but some classes were in person and some were remote. It was that middle bit. And I remember I was on the phone with my mom, and I remember telling her this explicitly, and I've never let it go. And it ended up coming true. One of my cousins, and I honestly don't know off the top of my head if I have mentioned it on this channel. I went to the same college as one of my cousins on my mom's side. He met his wife there. They now have a family, a few kids, dog. Very well put together. And keep in mind, I'm just a freshman. I told my mom, I'm like, hey, you know how I'm not giving names away. Hey, you know how he found her? And how their life is gone? That's not happening for me. That's not happening to me. That's a powerful thing, not only to think, but to say. And I think back to that very often because to this day, I've now been removed from school for 2 years. I haven't found someone. I haven't found that. Even though I've come to learn now a lot of people are in the same spot where they don't really find someone that early, as easy as it can be in movies and TV shows and other forms of media. It doesn't come naturally for some people. And I think when something doesn't come naturally to you, whether it be in a relationship or whatnot, you can question your self-worth. And more on the relationship side, you could find a deadly roundabout, which I've, again, gone through. I think a lot of these examples are me just saying I've gone through this. I'm not asking for an answer, but I know I'm not the only one dealing with this. If someone has the answer, feel free to let me know. If you agree and you know you're going through this, I want you to know you're not alone either. With relationships especially, and this is for everyone, this isn't just for guys or girls, you could find yourself, in your eyes, not worthy of being in a relationship, yet you want to be in one. And then you try and put your effort into people who, in your eyes, whether it be from a fascination standpoint, maybe a lust standpoint, that's the first and last time I'm going to mention that here, or through your mind telling you, because this will happen, your mind will tell you that this person will be there and solve all your problems. You try and put your efforts towards them. You try to reach out. You try to force conversation. And they don't view you in the same light. They might not even respond to you. As much as it's a good thing that happens, because the real result is, okay, this person doesn't see me that way. That's cool. I can cross them off the list. Another way you can internalize this as, and have it come back to you, it's, oh, I'm not worthy of being in this. I'm not worthy of being in a relationship with anyone because the people I'm trying to go for aren't necessarily viewing me in the same light. They're not coming back in this same way. And this can also be flipped on its head, because there can be someone who is clearly interested in you, And everyone will go through this. Someone will be clearly interested in you. They will be blatant. They will be upfront. Whether or not you are very honest and you can read signs. I'm working on reading signs, and I don't know how often I am working on that. It can, I wouldn't say be off-putting, but it could be. It could be off-putting. It puts you in an uncertain scenario and you don't know what to do. This actually happened to me a few months ago. My response to that after we had this meetup, because I met up with her and we had a fun time, was that I didn't text her at all. Our lives drifted apart. She recently actually posted the person she's with now, and it's funnily enough, I know him as well. We all worked together at one point in time. A realization that hit me through that is, especially regardless of whether you see yourself worthy of being in a relationship or not, you cannot, and people rather, will not wait on you to make those decisions. You have to see yourself as worthy enough to make that decision and put those feelings front facing and honest and into the world. Whether they say that they agree with you or they don't, that's besides the point. You have to, at times, show who you are and what you want. It can be hard to see that. It can be hard to see who you are and what you want, whether you're questioning, and when you're questioning yourself every step of the way, at every potential mishap of the way. Every time you try to put yourself out there and you're questioning whether or not you're worthy of even getting your desired response back, it's hard to have that happen to you when you don't even know if you're able and worthy of having it to begin with. The softball response, I will say, and I've mentioned this before, is that just by the virtue of you being here and by the realization of you being here, you are worthy of that. You are worthy of someone looking at you and finding you interesting and deciding down the road that they want to spend the rest of their life with you. I'm low-key getting emotional just saying that. But you need to know that. The honest truth as well with worth is not everyone will see that worth in you. I mentioned those kids who might bully you and growing up in school, who might not, and in some cases they're jealous of you and who you are. Those teachers and those mentors who have their own boxes of what success is, and you jump outside of it, you settle outside of it, you are not there. What I've been trying to do, and I think this is the apex as to all of this about worth and whatnot. I think the best possible solution, I'm not saying it's a surefire solution, but I feel like with that question of worthiness, it helps a fair amount. And I've been trying to do this recently, is pursue a life and choose pastimes that you yourself enjoy. Put yourself in comfortable positions for you. Build strong habits. Create a lifestyle that you can do every day. Create a lifestyle that you can wake up And regardless of whether or not you want to, you can stick to it, you can get the wins, and you can go on with your life knowing that you got those wins on those specific days. I was talking about this with my mom recently. Normally this summer, and normally how my last few summers have gone, I've been really busy. I work in baseball. I'm not in the same kind of position. I'm in a different position entirely this summer compared to my prior 5. She told me that at times, and I've learned this, it's hard when you have an abrupt change like that. And there are some days where, another thing, a very brief nod, is self-worth can even be worse if you just check things off the day and check your to-do list, your get-to-do list. You get to do everything you need to do and everything you want to do. But you don't see the accomplishment in that. Some people work out for the sake of working out. They don't see the accomplishment in going outside and working for maybe just 10 or 15 minutes and pushing themselves, or even as far as an hour plus. They just see it as another check that they got to do. I told her there are some days where half of the things I do are 2 things. I pray in the morning and I work out before I eat breakfast. By 10:30 max, that's all I've accomplished that day. The thing is, that's still an accomplishment. You're still helping your mind and your body and your spirit. You're showing, and I think at every person's point, and at some point in every person's life, they find their little niche where they're putting themselves where they need to be. In my case, it could be, I'm doing a video, I'm working out, I'm praying, and that's most of the things I do. I'm doing a quick minute video or whatnot, or I'm writing for a half hour, maybe a day. I think the solution to solidifying and getting out of that mindset and getting out of that perception that you are not worthy of so much of this life is by building the confidence that you are living a life worth living by finding and going for the supporting evidence. And that the more that happens, the more that you can decide, whether it be a week down the line, a month, maybe a year, more than a year even, that you are doing something worthy and that you are worthy of doing what you are doing. It can be hard to swallow that. It can be hard to see that could be the way out. But I feel like when you do that, you find your people along the way. When you put that effort and that evidence out into the world, the people who are right for you, whether it be simple friends, acquaintances, love interests, future romantic partners, they will draw to you. And I hope that it doesn't take you until then to see that you are worthy, that you have self-worth, that you deserve to be here. Because just by the mere fact of you watching this, of you being able to breathe, and you being able to open your eyes, you're worthy. The thing is, you might not see it, but you are 100% worthy, and you have self-worth to go off of.
bonus content.
If you've gone through some of these things, let me know. If you are going through this right now, let me know. We all have these battles. We all have to fight our own. I'm not saying that I have the answer and I have the one-trick solution. I think a lot of us are searching for that one-trick solution. It's never often that. It's often never that, I should say. But you have some self-worth. You have worth in yourself. You might not see it. You might have to carve it out for yourself. But I promise you it's there, and I promise that over time, as you work towards it, you will see it, and you'll smile when it shows up. Bye now.